AMP2.tv presents Tell Us Your Business, where you're invited on the air to tell us what makes your business stand out in the community. It's important we hear from you to tell us all we need to know about what you do best. Tell Us Your Business uses the latest radio and television production systems, and all shows can be seen on AMP2.tv. If you have a question for our guest, call 888-565-1470. Now, let's get ready as our guest hits the airwaves and informs us about what we need to know on Tell Us Your Business.
Hi, welcome to Tell Us Your Business. I am Laurina Anderson, your life and energy coach. I also am known as the Energy Shifter. You can find me at www.theenergyshifter.com and or give me a buzz at my office. And that is 954-647-5525. So, welcome. It's great to have you here. And by the way, this is a participatory interview here. So, if you have any questions for either one of our guests and my co-host, Jay Feldman, please call in 888-565-1470. You can also listen to us on 1470 AM, or we are streaming live on amp2.tv. That's AMP2.tv. And just look for us, okay? Call in. Thanks. So I would like to introduce my co-host, Jay Feldman. Please introduce yourself, my friend.
Good to be here, and welcome back, Lorena.
Thank you. Yes, I know I missed you. I missed you last week.
You didn't really, but that's okay.
Oh, I did. I thought about you for a half second.
That's great. Well, I'm Jay Feldman, the executive business coach, known by the 4 Ings of coaching: advocating, mentoring, consulting, and coaching.
Excellent.
And you can reach me at 954-763-2505. And my website is www.jayfeldmaninc.com.
Excellent. Yay. And I got to tell you, he's absolutely fabulous. Amazing for a business coach. So, and also he's got a financial background. So that also is really beneficial, especially, a lot of times with our startup companies and everything, we need to have somebody who can not only guide us in the business models, but also have the ability of being able to identify the budgetary needs that are so important for that startup business. So by all means, please give him a call. And then I'd like to invite our next guest also, who is here, Michelle Dempsey. And she is a professional writer, and she also has a company. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Very happy to be here. Thank you, Jay, for inviting me, Lorena for hosting me. My name is Michelle Dempsey. I am a professional writer, internationally published, but universally awesome.
I love that. Universally awesome. Cool.
My business, which I'm known for, is michelledempsey.com, where I started providing writing services such as blogging, email marketing, website content here and there to businesses in the area. I have now joined forces with my fabulous business partner, Diana Frustacci of Brooklyn, New York. I'm a New York native. She and I are launching 3660 Creative, a boutique agency incorporating all of what I just said with a little bit of coaching, a lot of SEO strategy, a lot of brainstorming. So we've really found our niche with female professionals, female entrepreneurs looking for, 2 minds that are here to help and nurture and foster creativity. You can find us at 3660creative.com or email me at michelle@michelledempsey.com, 2 L's.
Excellent. Well, welcome. It's great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And what a perfect combination here, the 3 of us. I mean, it really does.
It all works out.
It does. And we're here to be able to help you take your business to that next level, or how to identify your passion and be able to create that business. So tell us a little bit more about your business, Michelle.
Well, it's funny, Lorena, my business started from me not even looking to have a business. I never really imagined myself a female entrepreneur. I had always looked at those women and thought, well, that's nice, but I don't, I was just a teacher.
Those
who
okay.
can do teach.
So that's what I was going to do. I was going to ask you whether or not you were in the corporate world or not.
No, it's funny. I was a journalism major years ago in college at American University. like any girl in New York at that time, I became a publicist. And I went into teaching from there. Before my dad passed away, he said to me, "You're not spending the rest of your life partying with celebrities and rappers. You're going to go get a master's." Like every other good Jewish girl on Long Island. So I did, and I became a teacher, and I found a lot of success with it, especially teaching in New York. Once I had a baby, though, it became very hard for me to have to leave her behind to be with other children. And while I loved the children I was teaching, I just had so much, I wasn't ready to do that yet, to leave my child. So my husband said, think of something else to do. And I thought, well, what can I do? So last summer, I attended the Glazer Lorton Writing Institute at my University of Miami.
Okay.
A bunch of girls, hundreds of girls, everybody wrote a piece to submit for the final graduation breakfast. Mine was chosen. And I read it out loud, and I came home that day, and I read it to my husband, and he was like, well, that's something. And he was an English major, so coming from him, that was a huge compliment. So I started blogging, mostly just thought it would be something my friends would read on Facebook. Wrote about motherhood, about my feelings of having to leave my child. It basically became a personal diary. And lo and behold, enough people share your work, and it started getting picked up. I started writing for a few magazines, parenting, maternity magazines.
Oh, beautiful.
Submitted some work to Elite Daily. That became a thing I started writing for, contributing regularly for Elite Daily and then Huffington Post. And then all of a sudden I was published in South Africa, and some friends of mine started reaching out. Very good friend of mine, Dr. Jenna Bofshever, said, you know what, you're a really good writer. She's a chiropractor in Plantation. And she was like, I need a blog. So I started writing her blog, and it worked. It drove, traffic to her site. All of a sudden she was getting new clients. She was coming up, top in Google searches. And
excellent.
My friend Diana in Brooklyn, now my business partner, said, well, we're making you a website and we're going to market you because this is something.
Yes,
and it became
yes.
something. So I'm grateful. And through coincidence, met Jay, did some writing for him, and here we are.
Oh, my goodness.
And I might add that she, as most people who in business who were trying to develop their own brand, Michelle was very instrumental in taking what I thought was a mundane TED Talk and making it come to life. So I'm thankful for that, Michelle, too.
Thank you.
Well, I do have to say that I had read that article that you had written, and it's just a page long, but it gave such an amazing snapshot of what had allowed Jay to open up to a whole new level of himself and a whole new level of business experience and entrepreneurship as well for you. So,
well, I have to say, I've written many, many, many blog posts and pieces at this point, and it hasn't even been that long, but I'm constantly writing. And your piece, I think because of what I was able to identify, in it with your father and you taking a bonding trip with your sons, it was the first piece I had written for somebody else that made me cry. And my husband, who helped me edit it, honey, thank you.
Thank you. Ditto for me.
He said, you know what, I think this is your best piece. And I put my heart and soul into it because there was so much heart and soul into it. It just needed to be, pulled out in the right places. That's going in my portfolio as one for the books forever.
Wow.
No, that's powerful. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Well, your story was really powerful, though, too, Jay. That was a really instrumental piece that you were submitting to TED. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we should know in a few weeks whether I made the cut or not. But for me, as we've said a few times on the show a few weeks ago, the journey from being a Wall Street guy to really discovering 7 years ago the combination of having my son on a ventilator, being laid off, and then breaking 3 ribs going down whitewater rapids and thinking you're going to get killed, really started the journey for me to be a lot more about just the business Wall Street. And once you add that dimension of spirituality, which being in the river, and my dad gave me a ring from the Holocaust. My dad was a Holocaust survivor. So having that ring with me and then losing that ring while my life was in jeopardy and then realizing that the ring was gone.
Wow.
The power of the ring being gone And then me, the old Wall Street guy, would have jumped to conclusions. The new Wall Street, the new anti-Wall Street guy, which is working these days. The new Wall Street guy was kind of like, gee, let's harness the spirituality, and that's taken me to new heights in the 7 years since I was fired.
Wow, that's just absolutely amazing. And I was just talking to Michelle too. I believe that everything happens for a reason, that there are no accidents, and that everything that you experience takes you to a whole new level of understanding who you are. So in that realm, I think that what's really interesting is the ability of identifying, extracting the wisdom from each one of those situations so that you can continue to build on that. I mean, just as you said, you were laid off. However, look at where you are now. I mean, it's amazing where you've come from.
Well, and I think, look, to our listeners, I think Lorena and I feel that this addition, this additive force of business and spirituality and finding one's purpose in life, which I think Michelle in a minute or two will speak to also, is really right now what the anecdote for what the world is going through.
Well, I think that everything that we're seeing, I mean, we had, 20 years ago, the big downsizing where everybody was being laid off in a lot of different corporate jobs, and they were being forced out of the market and forced to try to find something that they could do because nobody was hiring. And I think that level then of entrepreneurship that they had to then step into and develop really allowed their persona, who they really are, the strength, the character, the courage that they had to really bring about their passion and allow that passion to come out in their business. Have you noticed that too?
I have to say, I've learned through personal experience and through this experience of becoming my own boss and all of that, there are certainly two types of people in this world. First of all, I think it takes hitting rock bottom to be able to make something great. You can't really appreciate hard work and making it, quote unquote, whatever your idea of making it is, until you've been in a place that couldn't have felt worse. And that was my case. But going back to what I said, there's two types of people in this world. People who will sit and wallow in their adversity and, well, this happened to me, so I'm screwed. And
the victim mentality.
The victim
Hello.
mentality,
Yes.
which I have to be honest, I played that role very well for a long time. I had, a childhood that wasn't so peachy and had been through some things in my life that I held on to as excuses until I was, faced with sink or swim. And so I swam. And I knew at that point, it was really the universe putting me in a position to let me hit rock bottom, which I did in every sense of the word. I write about that quite often. And I picked up the pieces. And there's something really empowering about that. And
absolutely.
And being able to speak to it and help other people. And, even if one person reads my work and says, you know what, that meant so much to me, I was there too. Yes. My mom always says, but the Huffington Post doesn't pay you. I'm like, but it means something, And it really is great. And that's what, where it comes to determining what success means to you. For me, my success is knowing at night I get to tell my story and people feel empowered by it, or they unfollow me on Facebook, whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. It's working for me. So
that's excellent. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I think we've all been there. I've had kind of like that same kind of childhood. And it was kind of a sink or swim. Either you're going to get up, you're going to do what you need to do. And I had two small babies. I mean, I had a 5 and a 7-year-old, and my 5-year-old's mentally handicapped. So, I was pretty much left on my own. So you do what you need to do. But I've got to tell you, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Well, there's also something about becoming a mother. You find this inner, I hate to sound cliche, but you find these inner superpowers.
Yeah.
You're forced to be something you never thought you'd be. And when you're placed in the position of having to care for another human life, regardless of circumstances, you're built to do whatever it takes, which you couldn't have done without the children.
Exactly.
It's much easier to sit and lie in pity for yourself when you don't have another little life or two lives depending on you.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You just do what you need to do. And that's the bottom line.
That brings us to another topic, a little related, is work-life, because I think work-life balance is almost an impossibility, but maybe work-life integration is a little bit more realistic. But Michelle, maybe you could tell us how you've managed to do everything you just described, plus a 1.5-year-old and a husband in a new business too.
Yeah, I have a toddler. I have a husband who successfully started his own law firm a few months ago. To say it's been a whirlwind would be an understatement, but I tend to thrive on the madness. I thrive under pressure. I find, when I have that fire under my, I'm going to go and make it happen. But it's not easy. My business partner always says to me, like, how do you do it with a child? You do it. And I do it better, I think, than if I didn't have a child. But for me, it takes a village. My mom, my stepdad, my husband, my wonderful babysitter who comes a few days a week. I mean, without them, I couldn't do what I do.
I
no
don't
way.
believe that for 1 second. Not 1 second. You're not gonna sell me on that because I know better. If you didn't have them, you would still be doing.
I would
what
find
you,
a way.
Absolutely, you would, because I didn't have anybody.
Yeah, that's
no
true.
one. I had a daycare center. That was about it.
Yeah.
So, but you find a way of being able to do it, whether there's somebody there to help you or not.
Right.
But luckily enough, though, you do have a village, and that's wonderful.
I'm very blessed. I find a lot of my strength in the village. It's all relative, though. If for a few weeks, my mom and stepdad were out of town. What did I do? I lightened my load. I didn't stop working. I didn't fall apart. I just adjusted and worked more at night so I could be with the baby more in the afternoon. A typical day for me is exhausting, but more gratifying than it's ever been because, again, for the first time, I'm doing what I love. I understand what that means. I never understood those people who, you have to love what you do. Thought it was about getting a paycheck and paying my bills. I genuinely love it to the point where I'm fine with staying up as late as possible to get work done and then some, except I've recently learned to power down. So
Yeah, absolutely.
in the power down process.
Maybe, though. I remember the text I got at 10:30, 11 o'clock when we were working together, so I'm not so sure. A little bit of power down, maybe.
You know what? I powered down enough to watch my shows. My mommy time is to lay down horizontally, turn my phone upside down, cuddle up next to my husband, watch whatever show it is, we have going on. And that's my ultimate, guilty pleasure.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about your business. What kind of clients do you have? What kind of blogs do you do?
Yeah.
So please talk to us.
I, for the most part, aside from Jay and one other lovely man who owns a business in Delray Beach, all my clients are female. And I love it because I have found, without trying to develop a niche, I've developed a niche client base of women in the health and wellness space. Not saying I don't work for women in other spaces. I have a beautiful client who's an attorney. I have a beautiful client who sells clothing, fashion designer. But it really has become, female entrepreneurs trying to help other women through whatever their work is. So it started with blogging. I was the blogger because I was writing for all the publications I was writing for. And, blogging really does essentially take your business to a whole new level. If you're that business that has that wonderful website that nobody's visiting, it's because nobody knows how to find you. You need a blog. Google likes consistent content, updates to websites regularly, and that's where the blog comes in. Additionally, the blog works twofold. Let's say you're selling lipstick, right? And you just have a lipstick website, but you start blogging about all the different kinds of lipsticks and ethically made lipsticks and organic lipsticks. People start to see you as a subject matter expert, and that's who they trust, and that's who they love, and that's who they want to buy from. So that's one part of it. The other part has become email marketing. Email marketing and blogging basically go hand in hand right now. It's all a means to get people back to the website.
Gotcha.
It's turned into web content, business proposals, bios, one-off projects, media kits, and with my business partner now, Diana, she's a whiz with SEO and optimizing, all the stuff I don't do, optimizing content and putting in keywords and running Google Analytics and auditing pages to tell clients what's working, what isn't. So it all comes together really beautifully. And a piece of that has become coaching. I've had a number of women reach out and say, really like your writing. I'm trying to get mine off the ground. How can you help me? I need
fabulous.
ideas. So
a writing coach. Love it.
Writing has become in its own right a hobby turned business for so many people. And so many people have fabulous stories to tell. They just don't really know, they need somebody to come in and sort of edit, do a lot of editing, and sort of help them pull that one piece out that makes them who they are.
Yes.
So I've had a lot of success with that. I have a wonderful client right now, this girl in Texas. She's pregnant with her second baby. She has a hilarious blog. She's the only person I know whose work makes me laugh out loud. And her thing became, holy, you know what? I'm pregnant with my second child. This was not supposed to happen. And the content just became funnier and funnier. But she needed somebody to come in and streamline it for her. And I started helping her and, showing her how to pitch to other publications, how to get her work published. And now she's been published in 2 major publications.
Oh, that's fabulous.
And I've just had so much fun in getting to know her in the process.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that part of it. I love people. I love getting to know them. I'm naturally a little too empathetic and sensitive, and people are my thing. I want to help.
I don't know if too empathetic.
I am. If you tell me your neighbor's sister's cousin stubbed her toe and then her dog ran away, it will stay in my mind for the next 2 weeks, and I will start Googling to find this lost dog. Like I've always taken on people's problems as my own. So I think that's where the coaching comes in.
My father used to call that the pussycat syndrome.
Yeah.
Every morning you put the milk out for the pussycat.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like
very
everybody come into
interesting.
my arms. I will hug everyone.
Yeah, I had that mother syndrome too. It's taken me a while though, because
why
being
is that?
a life coach, you're right, totally empathetic. I wanted to help everybody. I wanted to fix everybody. I wanted to make everybody happy. A lot of times they don't want you to fix them. They don't want the happy. They're having fun. As you said, there's 2 types of people. The one that really wants to improve, self-develop, but then there's a whole nother one that says, oh no, I like wallowing. Leave me alone.
Yes, misery is wonderful.
That way I get to point fingers, and it's everybody
Nothing's
else's.
my fault.
Yeah, and you do it all for me then.
Yeah. That's true.
It's crazy. But I totally understand. So I diligently now can listen and not take it in.
So I think that comes with great experience, because you obviously have made a name for yourself and have been doing this quite a while. I think I'm still too green to find that shut-off point.
Okay. Either that or we have to work together.
Yeah,
absolutely.
maybe.
I love it. I love it. I'll teach you. Because I also have a job that I am so passionate about, that I absolutely totally love. And in my whole entire being and passion is to allow each individual to identify their magnificence, to step into it, to own it, to give talent that they have, and be able to give themselves credit for it too, to be able to pat themselves on the back and say, yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
I read a great book, The Art of Self-Promotion by Debbie Stone.
Okay.
Changed my life, really. Because if you think about it, okay, so now you found that part of you because you went to Laurina. She's empowered you. You know what you're so great at. You are that wax candle maker that beats all other wax candle makers on the planet. But what good is it if you're not self-promoting?
Exactly. Well, then we go to Jay, because Jay happens to be absolutely brilliant with the ability of pulling out your niche, being able to identify what that niche is and then brand it and create it and I'm sorry, I'm talking for you, aren't I? Go ahead, Jay.
I appreciate that.
Go ahead, Jay.
That's what we call a third-party testimonial. I love that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think people want to capture their storytell. And the storytell right now, like I said a few minutes ago, is so powerful. And it's really, that's where, Michelle does many things, but being able to help folks define their story in an elegant, serious, humorous at times way is something that I know I really can't. I'm not great at it. I'm good at other things. I think, to your point, a good coach goes deep, and it's a cerebral way of looking at people. And if you give folks a safe place and space for that, then you can make all kinds of wonderful things happen.
Absolutely. And not only that, but there's something else that's really special about you, Jay. You have the ability of not only doing cerebral very well, but you're really good at having them tap into their emotion as well and their feelings. And that's what makes you more of a spiritual individual as well. You do a pretty good job. You do a very good job at marrying the two, not only who you are as a ex-Wall Street, but I won't say that. I'll say former Wall Street because, that's brilliant, though. having that kind of education, that knowledge, that expertise, that's what it sets you apart from a lot of the other coaches. And then to have the sensitivity that you have, the spirituality that you have. I mean, it's a beautiful marriage that you bring together.
Well, I think thank you, Lorraine. I think the central theme today is being able to have the power of vulnerability. I think all three of us have been telling the vulnerability, and us men typically have a problem with that. So a lot of my work is to try to uncover that.
Trying? No, you're doing.
I'm doing. Oh,
yes,
excuse
yes,
me. I
yes.
forgot. That's right.
Yeah, hello.
There's no trying in the Lorraine world.
No. There's no such thing as trying. No, but that's what really. Men, unfortunately, they get their definition of vulnerability is skewed because they see vulnerability as weak. And let me tell you, there is nothing weak about being vulnerable, because what you have to do, you have to open yourself up. You have to disclose sometimes some of your faults, and we're not perfect. And for men, oh my God, are you kidding? I have to do that. But it takes such amazing strength, to be able to open up, to be able to disclose, to ask for help. And to apply that as well. So you're absolutely right. Vulnerability. Not only that, I don't play victim game. And each one of us here, we no longer play victim game. Because if we believe that everything happens for a reason, that means that there can't be any victims. It can't exist. Because we have learned something. We have grown at every single moment to greater parts of ourselves. Just as you said, thank God you've got a village. Well, you could have done it without a village.
I'm sure, but it really is. Having gone through what I've been through in my life, it really makes all the difference to know that I have that team of support now.
Yes. Well, it is a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
I want to thank you very much, Michelle Dempsey. Also, give them your telephone number again so they can get a hold of you.
Sure, if you need me. I'd love to help you. 305-469-7500 or Michelle@michelledempsey.com.
Excellent. And Jay?
It's email is jay@jfeldmaninc.com. The website's jfeldmaninc.com, www.jfeldmaninc.com, 954-763-2505.
Excellent. And I'm Laurina Anderson, your energy shifter, your life and energy coach. If you'd like to tell us about your business, please give us a call, 888-565-1470. We'd love to hear about you as well. Thank you for tonight.
This has been Tell Us Your Business, where a special guest comes on every week and tells us what they do. All shows can be seen on amp2.tv, and if you wish to be a guest, call 866-224-5422 and tell us about your business. That's 866-224-5422. This has been an amp2.tv production.